Welcome back to Thomas Jefferson's Library Thing profile. And let's look again at the books that Thomas Jefferson inherited from George Wythe. And we see here that the catalog, this specific library catalog, is growing. There are 126 records in this database. And this is what I've been working on this semester for the most part. And if we look at a specific catalog record in this database, my screencasting tool did not like some of the pages in Library Things, so I made some print screens here to be able to look at some of these shots. So here we have a catalog record in the Library Thing database, and we're looking at Matthew Dobson's A Medical Commentary on Fixed Air. And users can click on Matthew Dobson here and be taken to his Library Thing author page. And again, the tags represent Thomas Jefferson's own classification subject authorities that he used in his library catalog. The collections here represent the Thomas Jefferson Libraries Project libraries, and then these specific collections here are the collections that this book, A Medical Commentary on Fixed Air, belong to. So there's the main database, the sort of entire Library Thing Thomas Jefferson database, and then his Monticello library. This is a book that Jefferson inherited from George Wythe, and then we've identified that Jefferson sold this to Congress. So these are some of the ways that we are identifying this title and marking it up, so to speak, to make it more useful and retrievable and that sort of thing. So in the comments field is where we're making this record a little more interactive for users and sort of telling the story of the book and how Thomas Jefferson received it and used it in his library, and then what became of it with the sale to Congress. So Jefferson received the title from George Wythe in 1806, and if users click on that link, they're taken to the record for that title, A Medical Commentary on Fixed Air, in George Wythe's Library Thing account. And from there they could explore George Wythe's library and all the social aspects taking place in the George Wythe Library Thing account. Back to the Jefferson Library Thing record, we next want to show that Jefferson listed this title on that Wythe list that was discovered recently in 2008. And so we show the manuscript image of that, which is hosted by Massachusetts Historical Society, and then a transcription of it. Here's what the transcription looks like, and there's a nice JavaScript that highlights the entry when you link to it. So Dobson's Commentary on Fixed Air. And the manuscript image shows the actual manuscript in Jefferson's hand, and I encourage you, if you're interested to see that, to log on to the Library Thing account and follow the links to view those, courtesy of Massachusetts Historical Society. The next way that we want to deal with this item is by seeing how Jefferson represented it in his sort of master catalog. It's known as the 1783 catalog in his Monticello library. And so again, we show a manuscript image of that catalog hosted by Massachusetts Historical Society, and a transcription that's offered by Monticello. sometimes it's helpful to click on these and open them side by side, and sometimes the handwriting is difficult to decipher. It might be squeezed together. Sometimes Jefferson was constantly revising his list and writing over top of entries, that sort of thing. So the transcription is really quite helpful to be able to decipher what's on the list. Then if we're not quite sure of the correct proper addition, then we want to say that. So we've done that here. The next piece of the puzzle is deciding whether or not Jefferson actually sold this work to Congress in 1815 along with that sale. And so we check a resource at Congress called the Trist Catalog, which shortly after the sale sort of documented the books that Jefferson had sold to them. And so again, we offer a manuscript image from the Library of Congress this time, and another Monticello transcription of that image. And if all these titles are sort of linking up in terms of the sizes with the octavo and the way the titles are written, and there aren't any weird additions or publisher variations, then we're sort of assuming that this is the same title being traced in all of these locations. And so the final piece in the puzzle is linking users to the entry for this title in a catalog called the Sowerby Catalog. And the Sowerby Catalog in the 1950s cataloged reconstructed, I should say, the Jefferson's Library at Congress as it would have appeared at the time of the 1815 sale. And so Sowerby makes these notations with a J in her catalog if she was actually describing an extant copy that would have physically belonged to Thomas Jefferson. So if that's the case, we will copy her notes about the item into our Library Thing records. If not, which is the case here with Dobson's commentary on fixed air, we don't want to copy any actual descriptions of the item because Sowerby was not actually looking at a copy that belonged to Jefferson. And so that's represented here in this record, where we say the Library of Congress copy was either lost in the 1851 fire or is missing. And so that sort of takes care of that. So that, in a nutshell, is a Thomas Jefferson's Libraries Project catalog record in Library Thing. And I think that they are complex and present lots of interesting data to users. And again, I think it's particularly helpful to have the manuscript images. It allows users to discover insights in new ways quickly that might not necessarily happen by accessing these types of resources in traditional library settings. And for those reasons, I think libraries should continue to explore these types of collaborative efforts in environments like Library Thing. And if I've piqued your interest with all that, again, I encourage you to log on to librarything.com/profile/Thomas Jefferson and have fun exploring the project. Thank you for listening.